Hello!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Regeneration Rundown, a Doctor Who podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Christian Alonso, and there's another host, Charles.
I could introduce myself. Thank you.
You don't like when I introduce you?
No.
Well, why not?
Hi, I am the Valleyard.
This is what we're doing now.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, fine. You know what? Then if you're the Valley, then I'm the Doctor.
Boo.
Specifically, the sixth Doctor.
Ah, the colorful one.
Well, yeah.
I
And
guess they're all colorful. Not as colorful as Jodie Whittaker was.
excuse me, nobody can be colorful than fucking Colin Baker.
I don't know. Jodie Whittaker was all bright colors, and Colin Baker's colors were like darker.
Have you seen the man coat? It's loud.
I guess.
Oh, you guess.
Alright, so
Now,
what has been up in your Doctor Who world news, whatever?
that's very simple. I listened to I've been listening to a bunch of Big Finish stuff, but like a good amount of those we haven't really go through. So I'm gonna talk about one. I'm like, I can actually talk about this one because it was for the Big Finish Doctor Who Monthly. I'm gonna talk about the Master. Now, basically, it was during around that time when the story called Master was released for like Doctor Who's 40th anniversary, and for Big Finish they were doing I guess would be a quote unquote like trilogy of, well, it's more like, what's what I'm looking for here, something I guess kind of ties up, and it's like, well, how to do like with Doctor Who's villains, especially I guess what they consider the big three, or at least the ones you could actually get. One was with Omega for the fifth Doctor. For the sixth Doctor, it was with Devros, and for the seventh, it was with the Master. And well, I'm not going to spoil it because I feel like we could do it for like a future review of it.
Okay.
But this is I would say about it. It's pretty much a mystery story. It's a really good mystery story, and I kind of forgot all about it, how like really really good it was. But basically about the Master. But the best thing I can say was like it's about him, except his memories is kind of removed, and it goes into like some of the things. And man, I gotta lie, like this story, it was really superb. I forgot how great it was. It's a really really great story. It's a really great mystery. It I would say it's a bit of a murder mystery, but I can't because I tell a little more information at that. Besides, they removed the Master memories, and like Jeffrey Reeves, who played the Master during the classic era, as well, he was more of the degeneration like Master, where like the Master used up all his
When he was all slimy?
Yeah, or Mr. Crispy, And he plays a very different kind of role over here, where it's not how he would usually play the Master, where usually he played like more like conniving, and I would say he brought that more of like if I remember correctly, how they used to compare like the Master and Doctor dynamic would be like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty's like dynamic, if you will. So,
okay.
And he kind of plays more to that, where Moriarty, where like I guess if the opposite of Roger Delgado would be like he's charming, but also he could be just also like cunning as well. With like Jeffrey Reeves, like his interpretation is that like he can't be charmed because like he's basically dying, so like he got to be more cunning about things. He got to be more like slimy in his performance. But this is where like he's not exactly like that. And Sylvester McCoy, he plays the Doctor.
Yeah.
I feel like even his performance, where like almost kind of downplayed, like, in the sense of it as well. And I wish there was something I can really say, because, like, there's some things over here that I kind of forgot, where I'm going like, yeah, you can't... There's some retcon over here where they cannot use that anymore in New Who. So that's a bit of a boo over there. But
are Big Finish considered canon? Do we have a consensus on that from Doctor Who creators?
It always depends. It's like sometimes yes, sometimes no. Like it's the closest thing you can say it could be canon, because of if I remember correctly, during like the 50th anniversary, where you have Night of the Doctor, where it was like Paul McGann's like regeneration story, like it would be like, his quote unquote like last story, and where he mentioned a bunch of companion names that are all from the Big Finish stuff.
Okay.
So like his stuff is like canon, just the rest of it is like it. That's one thing about Doctor Who. You gotta like pick and choose. So, like what be considered canon and what can't be considered canon. It's like, oh, you really want to go, like, oh, do you really want to consider like the Seventh Doctor virgin story as canon? I really can't, because like, well, one of the companions, well, she's basically retcon. So it's like, shit, I can't. But anyways, I would say for the rest, it's a great story. It's a great master story. Just overall, just one of the best from Big Finish, and I'd be hard pressed to say like there has been like one. I mean, I guess bad, where it's like oh, this is absolutely awful. Like at most, some of it could be just kind of just bland.
Okay.
This one I could say I can consider like my top 10 to like my top 5 like favorite Big Finish stories that people.
Well, does the blandness come from trying to do a visual show in audio format, or just the writing is?
I would say more of the writing than anything, because
okay.
Sometimes it's more of a typical Doctor Who adventure, and it's like, okay, like you heard it before. Sometimes it does it better from like the live action stuff. Something is like Big Finish. I know you can do better than this. You basically did like last month.
Okay.
So any Doctor Who thing?
No, but I recently got there are 2 things that I wanted to get. One of them was of course Jenny's continued story, Daughter of the Doctor.
Oh, on Big Finish.
Yeah. And also Missy's adventures.
See, I can't get into Missy.
I love Missy.
I think I would say it would be like the Peter Capaldi's like last like season. I think that's when she was like absolute brilliant. Before that, I'm like, I feel this is just something that John Sam already done with his master. It just like, oh, we're just gonna put like more over here rather than how John Sam was of his interpretation of master. And it's like,
I know I'm a huge Missy fan, so I'm chill with it.
Fair enough.
But I think she has. Oh, I think there's like new stuff coming out with Missy.
Absolutely. And I say to myself, I'm like, what? Maybe it just like her writing with like Sylvia Moffat that I'm not gelling with. So when I'm like, oh, okay, like I was listening to like I think like the Diary River Song stuff, and she was on it for like basically where River Song was meeting the Master and like different incarnations. And she was on. I'm like, oh, okay, this could be very interesting. And it's like, yeah, as I feared, I thought she was. I thought like her thing was like, yeah, it's not gelling with me. I tried Big Finish. I tried Charles. I tried.
All right, so I guess that leads us into our story. Today we're doing a Big Finish production.
Yes, we are. The Lichyrwick Abomination, which is from the Short Trips stuff. But you know how usually I'm, Charles. I gotta do like a little background on this.
Of course.
And well, see, you think it started with Big Finish. Actually, it started with BBC books, where basically taking on the concept of just anthology tales. The Doctor, and it started at 1998 and ended in 2000. But then I guess they brought it in 2002. Big Finish brought it back up to the license. And they tried continuing with the books from until 2009. BBC didn't really renew the company's license to issue Doctor Who stories in print. So Big Finish like, you know what? We're just going to continue it in audio form. And basically, this is the whole concept is like it's the Doctor, but in his much quote unquote like shorter trips.
Right.
And some it could be good, some it could be bad, and again, it's all relatively short. I would say this one is, I guess, is a tad bit more longer. I guess compared more to like the more bigger volume ones. But even then, like
that is noticeable. Yes.
But I would say even like the big volume is more like containment of like just all their, basically just short stories where it can run up to between like 15 to like 20 minutes, and the next thing some of them are hit or misses. I've listened to quite a bit where like some are just great and fantastic. Like probably one of my personal favorites. Well, it got tied with the Master, so this is. And some that could be kind of misses is like the more shorter ones. It's like I feel there was a lot more you could have done over here and probably explore more if it had more time rather than being a short trip. But this one is a much more special case with this particular short trip because it's part of the Paul Sprague Memorial Short Trip Opportunity. It's a yearly contest that started in 2016 and a celebration of Paul Sprague, who was one of the producers on Big Finish. And well, apparently he did a lot for Big Finish, which sadly he did pass away. So pretty much it's like, oh hey, we're gonna pick what we consider in our like a great story,
right?
And we're gonna bring it to you, the audience. Even myself had participated in like in one of these. I tried, but didn't get picked. I'm like, oh. hey, I tried and like it's pretty cool. So I want to get hands on it. Like, they have a whole bunch of rules. Like you can't use any of the Daleks for the story you want to do. I guess you can't really use like any big villains for to use, but like you could do like the Doctor up to a certain one. So I think up to this point you can only do like maybe like Geordie. You do from the first Doctor, or to like I guess would be the 13th would be Jodie Whittaker. So so there's a lot to say about this. A lot.
I'd bring back the automatons.
Maybe one day, Charles.
No, I'd bring back the spinning Christmas tree robots.
Really? That's who you want to go with?
Yeah.
So you use one of the spinning giant Christmas tree robots. That's what you really want.
Why not?
I mean, I guess. I'm not quite sure. So should we actually start with the review, or you want to keep going with the Christmas tree robot?
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
She's snippy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been getting a sass for you.
Fine. I never sass anyone. He's a liar.
See, he says that. He says that because he's a liar over here.
Wow.
So anyway, this
the Lichyrwick Abomination.
We start with our protagonist, Malcolm. Describing the night that him, his sister, and mom would lock up all the doors and windows from this monster that's going to come out during night. During one of those unfortunate nights, he got curious, went outside to check the monster out, and, well, basically just got scared, ran back to his bedroom. Unfortunately, however, he made one fatal fall. He forgot to lock the door. The front door, to be exact. Well, the creature came in, burst inside the room. The next morning, somebody found him laying on the beach. And, well, he was taken home. Everything seems fine. Till about a week later when his sister died. And he believed to be the creature that was responsible for it. So, dun dun dun.
Now we're introduced to our main conflict. You know what it reminded me of? I wish I could remember. So it's this show called From. I think that's what it's called. And it's like these people are stuck in a town. Like, you go into the town and you can't leave. It's Apple. But at night, they have to bolt everything up. Because these creatures who transform into, like, they'll transform into someone you know or something and ask you to come in, and then they'll, like, murder your entire family.
This sounds strangely familiar.
Oh, what's the dude's name? It was that... there's this, like, black priest. I think he's a priest. He's, like, the head of the town. And it's, like... Yeah. It reminded me of that when I was listening to it. Because it's always, like... Oh, this creature attacks at a certain time. Everyone has to get in and bunker down and all that, you know?
So now you can explain all this. Is like, now I'm thinking of, like... what was it? The Last Man on Earth. It's a...
The TV show?
No. Like, no.
The Twilight Zone episode?
Well, not the Twilight Zone episode. Like, it's a story by Richard Matheson where it's like it's about vampires, or where, you know, basically about, you know, the man who was the last man on Earth. However, it's more like you could say, like, the inspiration or a granddaddy to what would be the zombies, you know, pretty much. This is like before, like, Night of the Living Dead.
Oh. Huh. Okay. Okay, word.
And that's why I'm like, oh, that reminded me a little bit of that.
Alright, so
a few years later...
Wow. I was gonna start.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know you want to take it, you can.
You know what? You go ahead, Charles. You got this.
So...
A few years later... Go ahead.
So, it's been a few years. Malcolm's older. He thinks that he and this creature were responsible for his sister's death. And sorry, that was rude.
Yeah, it was. You're over here stretching over here. He's giving me a full show and everything. I'm like, sir, not on the mic. Come on now.
So he's delivering copies of his church's magazine, which is creepy. Yeah. I don't know. Churches shouldn't have magazines.
How dare these churches have magazine? What is this?
And then...
Little Boy Monthly?
As he's heading home, he hears a voice.
A very familiar voice. Well, to us.
To us, yes. And then he goes in and he sees a man wearing a leather jacket. He looks inside. And there's a man with a leather jacket. It's clearly the 14th Doctor, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, come on now. No, it's not the 14th Doctor. It's the 15th Doctor. Man, I mean, these short stories, the short strips, man, they can predict the future. No, it's not. It's just the 9th Doctor, to be more exact.
Yes.
And pretty much got kicked out because he has no money.
Which you would think that, you'd think a time where it would have some kind of, at least keep 100 of every kind of money in existence.
When you're home, it just basically like a plane that travels through space and time. I don't really think about those things, especially like you go to the medieval times. What are the medieval times? Well, what currency do they have? Rocks? He doesn't have rocks. That's better.
Coins. They used coins.
How do you know, Charles? Have you gone to
history?
Listen, okay. Like they had time to collect stuff or whatever. Sometimes he's saving the world, or like sometimes you take the sunbathing. I don't know. It's the Doctor.
Okay, but yeah, he's kicked out because no
monies. And well, him and Malcolm are talking, and Malcolm warns him not to be outside for the night. And Doctor's questionable, like, how come? That seems very strange for a boy to say. And Malcolm felt kind of guilty and take the Doctor to basically sleep for the night over his place with him and his mom.
Yeah, because he's feared for it's like, hey, you shouldn't be outside.
Got PTSD.
And in true to the Doctor fashion, his mother's angry because he has that effect on mothers, specifically the 9th Doctor.
I actually like how we're doing a whole theme of where we just going to do like another one ninth Doctor stories. This is the second time around.
Hey, you chose it, so
fair enough. But yeah, and she kind of begrudgingly takes the Doctor in, but wants him out by tomorrow. Damn it. So the Doctor asks, what exactly they're afraid of, and I really do like this part of how like Malcolm described the creature, both as a curse and it's a monster stuff. I think it's actually pretty good. It's great stuff.
Yeah.
And Doctor being a doctor, he look outside. He's like, yeah, you're right. You don't want to look out over there.
Wait, so like, here's the thing I have about the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like he doesn't listen to humans, and I feel like he gets in trouble when he doesn't sometimes. Sometimes.
Well, to be fair, more this incarnation, and like I feel like he's been through this enough.
He was so angry and mean, bitter.
Yeah, it's like his entire homeworld just go boop.
Wow. And
at least in all fairness, he's been around there for a long while. He's like, he already knows, like, you know what? Let me just look for myself. Like, for all I know, it's probably nothing. It's probably nothing at all. And like, what could be the harm or done? And it's like, yeah, I guess we got here looking to this now. So the very next morning, Malcolm and the Doctor walks around Lichyrwick. They stop at a harbor and they notice a bunch of dead birds. But Doctor investigates, grabbing one of them, and apparently it's looking kind of odd, just a tad bit odd. Granted, it's a dead bird, so it's like, well, it seems pretty odd, but
birds die.
This one seems very mismatched.
It is. It's very mismatched. But it's dead but fine.
And they continue walking, and the Doctor, he says the whole town is sick. Some kind of time distortion. I just feel like, Doctor, you and your time and distortion. I mean, granted, he's right about this one, but And the way to explain it is that Malcolm focused on a lamppost. He sees that there's another version of it. Then he follows the direction of the time distortion that leads back to Malcolm's house. And, for those who may not, like, I would say usually with these short trips, I would say it's usually someone who's like, I guess is like outside the perspective. Like, it's a third person rather than being a first person. That's how usually these short trips work. Like you're listening to like an audio novel. This, however, is it's more on perspective on Malcolm than anything. Which you can take it as either way. I see it as like, all right, this is actually a kind of cool thing because like with a lot of these we don't get from a first person's perspective. I think the closer you get to that is like with the Companion Chronicles, which we'll talk about like way later on. But like normally with them it's like
that is way later on.
But with them they use the first perspective of the companion. This, however, is, this is somebody who have never been with a Doctor until this certain point.
Yup.
And this is something that happened, something very traumatic to him. And again, it's all from his point of view. And he just seen like this daft old man with this leather jacket. And, and everything we hear from his perspective, has been like, like this creature is just a curse. And what really is great about the story, you get, from this whole thing about like all of his. Okay, sorry. Give me a second over here. From his perspective, you get like everything, from I guess from his point of view, he feels incredibly guilty that like that he brought this monster into his into his own home. He feels responsible for his own sister's death, and it's just a lot of that. And I feel like you don't really get that with like any of his short trips. Well, with one exception, Master, but we'll probably talk that like next time or whenever. But yeah, I think that's the strength that lies within like this particular short trips, is that we're getting an entirely different perspective from a first person that's never been with a doctor. So, this. Okay, here we go. So the doctor explains that the creature is making these time distortion since it doesn't belong there,
and that it's also following it's taking the same path
over and
over again.
And we get this, great heart-to-heart moment with Malcolm confessing that he was the one that unlocked the door all those years ago. And then we get this moment that Malcolm's mom wants him to promise that he'll be back, to her safely.
Which, depending on who's writing, doesn't always go well to wish in Doctor Who.
It's the short trips. Come on now, Charles. It's the short trips.
Yeah, seems like even worse.
So, now they do an investigation, and Malcolm sees a boulder. Started giving him a bit of a headache. The same kind of head he apparently had when he was...
at the light post, yes.
Both him and Doctor make their way to the boulder, and although it's a cavern, they go inside. And as they continue, they found what appears to be a nest. And when they start to look a little closer, the creature comes up, which isn't really a monster per se. It's, kind of like this bird-like creature.
Like a vulture. Like a giant vulture?
I guess a vulture. I'm sorry. He turned to Charles. He tended to flap his arms like doot, doot. And apparently one of the wings, hits Malcolm, and it flees, and him and the doctor follow it to find they're in a different time, exactly the night that Malcolm was captured by the creature, which he see himself as a child asleep on the beach, and it's just another great moment, and it's probably this is a realization that Malcolm came that the whole thing with his sister dying. If I remember correctly, like in the beginning of it, like basically they say that his sister has some kind of sickness, nothing that nobody could have done.
Yeah. And
he finally had the realization that none of it was his fault. And it's a great touching, but also kind of like a bittersweet moment. He comes to the realization and just like. And let's see, he finally, accepts it, and he's able to forgive the creature, and he was able to find out there was a large splinter inside the creature. So you tell me this entire time this creature's being an asshole, but he has a splinter inside his wing. That's it.
Yes, splinters hurt.
See, it's like the equivalent of like a rock or a little pebble inside his Ed's shoe. From Ed and Eddie, and he's being an asshole because there's a pebble inside his shoe.
It can't fly because there's a splinter in its wing.
I would hear none of that. None of they say.
Alright, well, next time you get a splinter, keep it in you. Since...
Well, no, I can take it out.
No. No.
Well, no, because it might go inside my heart.
Oh, well.
How dare you? No, I don't hear none of it from you, sir. And Malcolm was able to take out the splinter, the creature feel better and fly. Well, the doctor takes the creature, and the creature went and able to flies off. But Malcolm, put the child of himself on the exact same place all those years ago. Headed back to the cavern, and see that it's empty, and he made it back to his own time. I don't know how that happened. I guess the distortion was being generous. I guess. To give him all that time to go back, But anyways, so the next morning, Lichyrwick is full of life again. Yay! And the doctor tells Malcolm the creature is safe and healthy. He let him know that Malcolm saved the town. And, they both say their goodbyes. And, that's it for Short Trip.
I would... I like the Short Trip. I like this one.
This is the only one addition to.
It's up. It gets to the point. It gets to the climax. It finishes. I'm happy.
Wow, you just you that's really good there, Charles. You probably like explain a good 100% of fiction and how it works.
Yes, but this one got there in time, so fuck you.
Well, as someone who's been listening to this is also a pretty good one. Because like I said, like they tend to be like hits and misses. You know, it just because it had more to do with like, the length of it and like some of the, you know. So like, man, I wish it could be much more explored if it was a longer thing. But even though sometimes it's like, man, but some of them find, you know, they realize, okay, it needs to be short. That's what the whole point of it is. You know, you go from point A to point B, like that. It doesn't linger too much of it, and I feel like it hits its points, its emotional points that it needed to be. And one of those great little stories that you can actually listen to. And hey, guess what? It's for free on Big Finish. At least the last time I saw. I could be absolutely wrong about that. If I am, I'm sorry. But you know, but even then, like some of these short trips, it's not that expensive. I think like, well, no, in America, I think it's like up to maybe like $2.
Yeah, it wasn't free when I got to it, but it wasn't expensive. It didn't cost as much as like just stuff.
It didn't cost more than a hay penny. But yeah, like, and I feel like this is one of the ones that like, hey, if you're like really curious to get into like some of these, I feel like this is one of the better ones to listen to. And besides, I am the master. But you know, that's for another time. That's for another day. I mean, what else to say? Besides, give a rating. So Charles, how much you give this out of 10?
For what it is, I'd give it a 7.5.
7.5. All right. I would say for this one, I give it a good about 8 3/4. No, I'm being joking over here. I'll give it at least 9 out of 10.
Okay, so I gave it 7.5. Adipose.
Adam, what?
Adipose. Low fat.
Oh, I give this 9 out of 10 splinters in the wing.
Wow, you're just gonna cause more problems.
Time distortion. We're just gonna say fuck you to everybody in time and space.
Well, that was that.
Man, when we do like some of these short ones, it's actually that's just short. Wow.
Imagine if something is short, then the content is also going to be short.
Oh man, this is such a lightweight. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's just, oh man, whew, good lord.
All right, well,
that was the end of the show.
That was the end of that episode.
So Charles, how they get like a hang of us? How can they find us besides on Spotify? Are we also
so
on
much work.
Also on Apple Podcasts as well.
We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. We're also on YouTube on the Echo Star Studios. All of this will be.
Ooh, I'm part of Echo Star Studios. What you're saying over here?
I'm part of Echo Star Studios.
What? How dare you? Well, I can't be part of it as well.
No.
Well, I can't be associated with it.
No.
Well, what am I then? Well, I'm just. What? I just kind of whore down the corner and you just.
You're my accessory, like all men are. That's what men are good for. Accessories. That's it.
Accessories?
You're an accessory. You're like a ring or an iPhone.
Well, can I be a cute ring then?
I guess you could be a cute ring. You are a cute ring. There.
Okay. Yeah. And also for an iPhone, can I have a cute little cover?
You're asking for a lot now. I guess you could have a cute little cover too.
Yeah. Can we Hello Kitty?
It'll be Kuromi.
Kuromi.
That's the one with the little dark. Do you not know Sanrio? Characters?
I know some of it. Charles, I'm a 34-year-old cis man. Do I look like somebody who goes to the?
Yes.
The only thing I know is just like Hello Kitty, and the yolk somewhat, and Agresco. That's all I know of.
Weakness. Weak. All right, everyone.
Till then, we'll see you next time. Reverse reality and time distortion and just go.
You've reversed the polarity?
The neutron flow. Come on now.
Bye.
Peace out.